Hey everybody, here at the rinks at Anaheim Ice, here in Southern California. I'm Eric Pesolano, Chuck Lasik with me as always, and this is the first episode of our new show, Chuck. We're going to try this podcast thing and see how it works out.
Yeah, let's try it.
We're calling it the report card.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder who came up with that idea. Whoever came up with that idea did one heck of a job. I like that.
They should give them a raise.
They should.
I know that much. But I have a feeling it would come out of somebody else's salary, and I don't know if I'm willing to. I mean, that person's willing to commit.
I guess.
So we'll have to wait and see. So basically, the idea behind the podcast, we're going to try to do this as often as we possibly can. There's no real set schedule.
Not yet.
It might get to that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and whether or not I want to show up every week. But other than that,
true.
I think this is going to be fun.
Okay.
I'm going to be here. Well, who am I kidding? I'm going to be here every week anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're going to go over, in this particular episode, we're going to talk about what happened last year a little bit, talk about what we expect this year. Got some rule changes going on at the upper divisions in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League, our featured league here on the report card. The first show is going to be different than the other shows because we don't have anything to go on yet.
Exactly.
We got to see the kids on the ice.
We're wingding it.
Yeah, basically. That's how episode 1 is going to go. We're going to welcome a new face to the Black Dog Enterprises family.
Yeah, a new voice actually here right now. It wouldn't be a face because they can't see it if it's a podcast.
No, a new face this season.
Okay.
During the podcast, you're not going to be able to see his face.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
A lot of people listening to this have probably seen his face.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're right.
Mike Perkins, former coach in the league, is going to join us as our new analyst. He's not taking your spot, though. Your job is safe. You're fine.
So far.
In addition to.
Yeah.
So Mike's going to join us on the show. Every time we do this, it should be fun. He's got another hockey podcast himself that he talks about regularly. So he's the pro at this. We're the amateurs.
Exactly.
So we
sound like it right now too, don't we?
The good thing, the difference is between our broadcasts and doing these podcasts is this is so much more informal, and I'm so much more comfortable doing this.
I am too. Oh, it's easy.
Than anything live, that's for sure. Because we can edit this at any time.
Exactly.
No one will ever know where we screwed up.
Probably going to edit this part out right here, so we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, no, you may never hear this part. So I'm just going to stop talking about it. So the idea behind our show going forward is we're going to grade the teams as we go throughout the year. We're going to take a look at their performances week by week. We're going to feature the Division I teams this year, so each show will kind of center around a particular Division I team, but still base the show around the entire league itself. So if you tune in and you're streaming this and you hear, what are they talking about Orange Lutheran, or why are they talking about Tahoe so much? Well, the featured team that week. So it's not a biased thing because everyone's going to get their chance.
Exactly. I think we should do a special one when we go to Vegas, too.
We might.
We should.
We'll talk about Vegas throughout the year, too, because we're going to be out there calling some games. So we got a showcase for the high school team, so that's going to be a lot of fun coming up in December. We'll talk about that in future episodes. But today, we're going to talk about what happened last season a little bit.
Okay.
It was exciting. It was year 8 for us. We're going on year 9 now.
Holy cow, wow.
Yeah, you can't believe it, right? Jay Sarah's entering their 10th year as a league member. So, of course, it's going to be a special season for them.
They got the sick uniform. We saw the preview of that uniform, too. And Coach Nove yellow shirt.
Oh, that's right, with the logo, the new logo. Yeah, that's going to be featured plenty throughout the season here in Anaheim. So last year, start with Division I. Orange Lutheran and Tahoe make it to the title game. Tahoe's first year. They played well. Had a lot of firepower on that team, but, Lancers and all that experience came out in the end, and they took home another title.
No, and basically, I mean, that one went pretty much as planned. I think Tahoe was kind of a surprise. Didn't really surprise us because we saw Tahoe when they were playing, when they started off the year. The difference from when they started off the year to the way they finished the year was leaps and bounds. And actually, I'm expecting them to build on it this year. And honestly, right now, I think they could be the team to come up this year.
That's a hot take.
Just let you know.
Brand new show right out the gate, Chuck Lasik.
Firing the first shot over the bow.
Yeah, there you go. It's never too early to start that, that's for sure. Division I's going to look different.
Yeah, it is. Actually, what the other thing is, you're adding two teams, two old faces, actually. Yeah. Basically, Edison and Damien are rejoining the Division I ranks. Basically, both of them moving back up from D3. Coach Barry Shear bringing it up, his Damien squad back up to Division I, and it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. And then also, I'm just interested again is Edison keeps on being that lone public school that keeps on making that leap into the D1. They had a tough time and actually were dropped down. Was it 2 or 3 seasons ago where they dropped down back to D3? They started off in D1, and then they went, they saw that, it was 2 years ago? 2 years ago. But they're back in the Division I ranks right now, and, based on the season they had in Division III and some of the talent and firepower they're bringing back, they're probably going to be just as competitive. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I look forward to it. It's going to be a lot more. I mean, we're not going to see the same game almost every other week, so that's a good thing to look forward to.
We got the preseason rankings up on the website, adhshl.com.
Really?
Yeah, and for Division I right now. Haven't gotten
Obviously,
Division 2 and 3 yet, but I didn't either.
Oh, I see.
So it's going to be fun to talk about this. We can criticize those who did vote.
Okay, yeah, we can.
Because we didn't have a hand in it.
That's okay. Good. Let's criticize the voters.
You want to go 7-1 or 1-7?
Let's go 7-1.
Okay. So the Damien Spartans moving back up to Division I. They're going to come in at number 7.
Okay.
Low for me, I think, because any team with a Spartan on their chest has done well.
No, exactly.
Historically, not just Damien either. Bill Park's been pretty good. Played a title game last year. But anyway.
And they've actually won a championship, too.
Yeah, exactly. But they're coming in at number 7, preseason rankings. New to the division. They're going to have to get reacclimated. So that's probably the thinking behind them.
No, it's going to take a while. And I think the biggest adjustment for them at that point, and it's going to be the same thing for Edison. It's not the talent and firepower, but I think it's more the speed of the game. Basically, D3 is going to be 2 or 3 that take both. Damien, they have him in at number 7. But I think that's the toughest thing for Coach Shear to get his team to acclimate to is that, hey, this game's going to be a lot quicker, guys, and you're going to have to step up.
Number 6, the other new team, the Edison Chargers, fresh off a D3 title.
True, and basically, I mean, they're bringing back a lot of familiar faces as well. And, you got to admire, like I mentioned before, the only public school in the D1. So, I mean, they're kind of like the redheaded stepchild right here, so it's going to be interesting to see how they move forward with it. But you know what? I like where they're going with it, and we'll see how they do.
Okay, now we're going to stop right there at number 6 just for the moment because now we have Mike Perkins, fresh off the ice, who was down there coaching the
kids. I
can
smell the sweat.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
We had a little bit of time constraint, so we got started without you, but that's fine. You're going to be here the rest of the season, too. So
I'm glad to be here. Glad to work with you guys.
So, it's going to be a lot of fun this year. I tell you what, especially with the 3 of us, we're going to have so many people turn us off so quickly. So we're talking preseason rankings in Division I. Damien's at number 7. Edison's at number 6. You were coming in the middle of this conversation. We didn't vote for this, so don't yell at me. It's too early for that. But we'll move to number 5, and that's the Bellarmine Bells.
Yeah, Bellarmine. I mean, they've been around. Now that's their 5th or 6th season now. I want to say 5th.
I like how you look at me like I know.
Well, you
everything.
You're better than I'm trying to think too.
It's the 7th, actually. Matt's saying.
No, Matt's saying 7.
Matt's saying 7.
Yeah. So I mean, all the years run together when you start getting close to double digits for us.
Well, this is what I know about Bellarmine, that they're always going to work hard. That's the way they play. They've been coached that way since the beginning. Of course, Mike Yost, who oversees the program, he instills that, from the early years, and then now David Guy, the head coach, who does a fantastic job there. He instills a work ethic with those boys, and they come to play every time they step on the ice. You're going to get a hard hockey game.
Exactly. You basically took the words right out of my mouth there, Mike. Basically,
that's going to happen
but what happens is
that's good.
This is a blue collar team. Bellarmine is basically. I mean, they work hard, they skate hard. They don't really score. I mean, but I think they're more predicated on defense and goaltending. And basically, they look for their quick strike capability or time to strike. They look for their chances to strike. But they basically are focused more on defense and goaltending. And even though they lack the firepower, still always an interesting team. And I'll tell you what, they're never out of a game. And they skate for the full 51 minutes too.
Yeah, have had a great history of good goaltending or goaltending when they've needed it. I think that's the more important thing. So let's move to number 4 now. Are you guys sitting down? Well, Chuck, you're sitting down. Mike's standing up. Can we get him a chair? Anyway. Orange?
I was wondering, sooner or later something has to give because I'm sure they've lost a lot of firepower as well. They had 29 seniors last year or something like that. I'm not sure, but remember when they had their senior night? They had to, we almost had to knock out the back wall so we could fit all the teams.
The game started 35 minutes late. That's
exactly.
The pregame ceremony took that long.
But still, you can never count Orange Lutheran out now. Orange. Remember when they first started? They basically won that one game back in. They call that JV at the time. I can't remember it. The leaps and bounds that program has made has been Absolutely
definitely come
incredible.
a long way, and you got to give a lot of that credit to Dan Adams and now Joe Adams, who's taking over for his dad. It's kind of nice that he has some experience like that to lean on during the year. I know Dan's not as involved as he was in the past, but Joe's a bright young hockey mind who has a lot of hockey experience, and he's going to bring that to his players. He's got a nice group of coaches that he's got built within the program there, and yeah, it's very typical, as we know in high school sports, that things ebb and flow over the course of years, and Olu is ebbing right now, and we'll be. I'm excited to see where they're going to be at come Christmas. That's always kind of a gauge for me. I know early in the year I don't look too deep into it, but they got some nice players and Jacob Fury and a couple of other cast of characters that are very solid hockey players, and I look for them to be in the mix. I'm not sure where they're going to be at. 4 seems a little bit low for me, but we'll see. We'll see how things go by the time Christmas rolls around.
You don't win Division I and come out the next year and get ranked 4th. That doesn't happen. But that speaks to the parity that you were talking about a second ago, Chuck.
No, exactly. Not only that, you mentioned Jacob Furry too. When's there been a time he's not scored a big goal? Honestly,
not never.
Never. Honestly, I think he was a freshman when he scored the one to beat Santa Margarita.
He's been in a few of my nightmares.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, I mean, whenever we have especially when I guess you would have to call him a veteran now. I mean, basically, he's going to be a junior or senior this year. I want to say.
I believe a senior.
Senior. So yeah, I mean, there's some talent. I mean, and he scored that game winner against Santa Margarita when he was a freshman, didn't he? So, I mean, he come up, and then last year we had that overtime game against Santa Margarita where he came out and scored on that breakaway. So, I mean.
He's done it all.
He's done it all.
Got a senior season to go.
Yeah. So, good thing still in store for Orange Lutheran. I'm not sure about, I mean, we got to see who else they have. I mean, it depends who they lost and who they've added, and also goaltending also makes a big difference, too.
All right, we'll move on to number 3 now. The runners-up in last year's championship game, Tahoe, coming in. Getting the bronze medal here in the preseason rankings.
Yeah, so I'm going to be interested to see how things pan out for them. They've kind of changed structure a little bit with having a prep team that doesn't play in the league here, and then a varsity team which is underneath the prep team that will play. I'll be interested to see how they mix and match players over the course of the year. But the good news is they got a great thing going there. They have a good amount of practice time for their players that are playing for them, and then they add obviously with the academic portion to it, and outside the Southern California hockey world, so maybe the ice costs are a little bit less, so they can have a little bit more, which is great for the kids that do go there. And I've just heard a lot of great things going on up there, especially over the course of the summer. They did some camps, and a lot of the news I heard back from some of those camps were very positive and exciting to hear about.
Well, I already broke out the big. I think they're going to win this league this year. Honestly, yeah, that's my guess. No, that's my prediction right there. I think the way they improved from the beginning of the season last year to the end of the season, I think they're just going to carry that finals visit over and walk away with the title.
Well, I like what you're saying there, because I've from what I've experienced here and what I see is that teams that get into a final game that maybe don't win it, the next year coming around, those players that are returning, that's a lot of good experience, and of course it puts a little fire in their belly if they lose that game and they come back to the next year and get in that game. It's going to put a lot of energy into their game.
Yeah, this isn't the NFL. You lose a Super Bowl, you just don't go to the playoffs the next year. It's history has showed us. It's different.
Definitely.
Well, if you've been following along at home, you realize the 2 teams that we haven't mentioned yet, right? The elder statesmen, the charter members, if you will. And number 2 is Jay Sarah. And I'm going to give Mike Perkins the first word on that one for obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, obviously they got a nice group, and Jeff's doing a heck of a job there. And they got a couple of new players coming in. But I have to mention Blake Reed and Jake Hager and Mikey Pellegrino. Those players are mainstays, and they've been around. They've been through it. They've done a lot of things inside the league here, and through Caja States and into nationals. All 3 of those players have had some great experiences over the years at Jay Sarah. I'm looking to that team to be really solid. I expect more of the same of what they've done in past years.
If you follow our broadcast partners' Twitter account and or Facebook page, Black Dog Enterprises, Andy Dickerson, the founder, has done a whole series this summer about the greatest goals of last year. and it was a top 10 countdown, and number 1 was released. It was either yesterday or today.
Today.
It was today.
Who was it?
It was Blake Reed.
Yeah.
And he.
The Dipsy Doo, the one where he started.
Against Santa Margarita.
Yeah. Oh, my
right
goodness.
through the legs.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was something else. If you get a chance, check it out at BDE Video.
That was basically. I was only going to give you 2. Actually, I was going to give you and Jake Hager. No, that's just.
Well, listen, Blake is a physical specimen. He is super strong on his skates. He's got a great shot. He's got a high-end shot. I would go as far to say he's got a Division I college style shot, and his strength of skating. He is so powerful when he moves up and down the ice. It is very difficult to knock him off the puck. You add all those things together, and you got a very dangerous hockey player. I don't want to not mention Jake Hager in this because his size and his skill is very threatening to any team that he plays against, and has got a great shot. So again, both those guys, and then Mikey Pellegrino, who's got such a great knack around the net. He gets a puck in front of the net, and then, wow, some of the things that he does.
They're gonna be rocking that 10th anniversary logo.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time today. I was very impressed. It looked good.
Yeah, I got to look at that last week, and that's something else. So that's going to be fun for them. 10 years, the longest tenured team in the league, of course. They were the first ones. So they come in at number 2 on the preseason rankings, which leaves number 1, Santa Margarita. Do I give Mike the first word, or do I give
give Mike the first word.
Well, I've had nightmares about them too. Listen, they have a great list of players going right now in Levi Solani, Logan Orsini, Nick Mouthy.
Now they're still playing. Gosh, this is like his 9th year or something like that. My goodness. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he was 6 when he started playing in this league.
They got a nice group of players over there, of course, and I just got to mention Craig Johnson's ability to coach in big games. He does a great job. So they are definitely, at least in my mind, the front runners.
Well, now that you also have Jackson Grosshand's coming back this year too, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Don't forget. I mean, he's you want to talk about? I think he's really the one that stabilized that defense last year. Honestly, I mean, the newcomer comes in. It's a big body with a big shot, and he skates hard, and he's actually pretty quick for a big guy like that too. So, I mean, they're pretty well set all the way around.
I think there's some young kids that we'll see here as games get going that we'll talk plenty about that I know are going into there. But I'm just not going to mention any names at this point. But they have some good young freshmen coming in, and I'm very excited to see what they're going to be.
Yeah, you're going to have to stick around and listen to our next show to hear you talk about the young kids. We can't give anything away yet. Then we get yelled at, and it becomes a whole thing.
Yep.
We're not the professional media by any means. You all at home know that, watching us over the last few years. So Santa Margarita tops the charts, number 1. Craig Johnson, you guys talked about him. I believe he's the longest tenured coach with one team.
Now he is. He has to be now.
He is. In my count, 338 league titles, I believe.
Close, that's pretty close.
Something, give or take a couple of hundred. So Santa Margarita comes in at number 1. Division 2, Division 3, we'll talk about as the season goes along. We already mentioned at the top of the podcast here that it was St. John Bosco, Division 2 last season, who steamrolled everyone and may have done it throughout summer too, who knows. And then down in Division 3, Edison taking out Bishop Amat in the title game here at the rinks at Anaheim Ice. They move up to Division 1, so it should be a interesting season for them. Don't forget, all the varsity Division I games this year are going to be live on Black Dog Enterprises. Log on to see those games. The 3 of us knuckleheads will be calling all those games this season, minus the first 2. You 2 are going to have to pick up the slack.
I was going to say the first 2, yeah.
Which are September 9th, right on Black Dog Enterprises. So
I think 4 and 6, I believe. Yeah. I was looking at the schedule.
The 2 Division I games, yeah. I don't know if we're doing any D2 or D3. That's yet to be determined. I don't make those decisions.
What's the first game's Olu SM?
No. It's Olu. No, it's Olu and
Damien.
Yeah. And then Santa Margarita plays
Edison.
Edison,
yeah.
Okay.
And those are at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m.
What did you guys say about Edison?
I'm interested. I'm very interested just to see what goes on. I mean, I think I always put them at a little bit of disadvantage because they're a public school. And I think I'm not sure if they have the same type of training regimen and just the support financially.
They're my dark horse, by the way.
Really? Wow.
Yes. They got a good group of seniors led by a defenseman by the name of Vito Valanzano. And they have a forward named Nico Santoro, both very good hockey players.
Santoro's been playing forever, too. Yeah.
Good leaders, and I suspect that those guys are going to be leading that group of
and the 17th Osterkamp's leading that. Sid Boy is leading that. Is captain again, isn't he? Is it Tanner Osterkamp still on that team or not?
No, I'm not sure. I haven't seen any of the list, so
okay.
The commissioner hasn't released any of the list to me at this point yet. So I'm hoping maybe I can get a look at those sometime in the near future.
You can catch our show here, the report card, on adhshl.com whenever it becomes available regularly. We don't have a schedule yet. We're just trying this out and seeing how it's going. I think it's going okay so far.
It's not too bad.
I mean, Mike somehow figured out how to shut up Chuck in the middle of an explanation, which is a first.
Yeah, he's probably everybody might turn up now.
Well, that's going to get us ratings.
In our pre-show, I'm ready for some arguments.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you'd known the guy for 9 years and we're this close on a regular basis here. And then it spills over onto the broadcast. This is even more casual. This is going to be more fun.
Oh, this is going to be more fun. Yeah.
But it'll be family friendly. It's G-rated.
Exactly.
Everything's all fun here.
It's all be edited too. So.
Yeah. We really go at it when we turn off the mics. Anyway, so September 9th, Black Dog Enterprises will have varsity Division I coverage for you on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey
Did you guys
League.
mention any of your dark horses, or?
Well, basically, I have my dark horses. I think Tahoe's going to win it this year. That's the team I have there. I think you have them ranked. They're there. You don't have them ranked, but they're third. I think Tahoe is going to we talked about just a tad bit, but I think they're coming off. The runner-up this year, and there's players going to be in their bellies, and I think they're going to actually steal this.
Yeah, Mike, you joined us late. Do you know who voted on this poll?
I have not heard.
Okay.
I saw it, but.
Well, the good thing is they kept the media out of the media poll, so that's good. That always makes sense. When I saw media, I was like, who is the media? Yeah, you got to remember that now. Yeah. That's you now, buddy. One of that. You're one of us. I apologize for that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Notice how he ducked after he said that? My goodness.
A different vantage point sitting up here watching the game. So, I spent a lot of years as a scout watching games from up top. So, very excited to be able to give some of my comments and thoughts about the game to the fans. And looking forward to working with you guys. And it should be a good year. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chuck's going to be down on the benches for our division. We're going to have to talk about the dress code. The dress code. The new dress code. The new dress code. Implemented? Yes. We got to talk about it. We can talk about it, but I'm just going to have you talk to Mike about it, and you're going to shut up, and then you're going to do what we say. We have a dress code? Yeah, on the benches. There's a dress code. On the benches. Yeah. I mean, there's a dress code up here, too, because we're on camera, so we have to, Well, I got my Ducks League shirt on. Oh, yeah, you're good. Yeah. That, khakis, we're fine. Yeah. It's this guy over here who wants to. I'll go minus this hat. I'll go back to my newsboy cap. There you go. On the bench. There you go. I'll definitely wear that. Oh yeah, no, that'll be extra. There you go. We got to get him a league branch one. I told what's his face to get a Christian. Yeah, Christian. I told him to get a logo put on the hat for me. I don't know. I texted him that a couple minutes ago. So we'll see if he can. Beanie Boy. Now what's his face? That's what they're going to call. That poor guy. He couldn't make it tonight. As a matter of fact, the reason why we are so behind in taping this is because I had to figure out how to hook everything up, and we don't even know if it's going to work. I mean, if you're listening to this at home, or really did. And if not, doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to hear me explain this anyway. So we'll figure this thing out going forward. It's a lot of fun for our first pilot episode here on adhshl.com. I'm sure they'll distribute it throughout social media. You'll be able to listen to us anywhere, or you'll be able to mute us anywhere. Which is turn us off. Generally the train of thought for most of our... Well, I think the fun part for us will be to be able to dissect things a little bit more. I think in games sometimes you don't, if you mention something, the play moves along and you got to keep up with the play. Whereas in this environment, if we want to kind of dig into something a little bit deeper, we can do that. And I'm looking forward to that side of it. And as we mentioned earlier, it's not live, so we can edit all of our mistakes out. It'll be great. Can't do that when we're live on the air. Definitely not. No. Well, hopefully we keep it G-rated.
We already talked about that. Yes.
Yeah, we can edit that out too.
I am a hockey guy.
Gentlemen, wrapping up our first show here. Final thoughts on the new and upcoming season.
I like that there's more teams now. We have 7 teams there now. I like it. I think there's going to be a lot different. Like I said before, you're not going to see 2 teams play each other every 2 weeks. You're going to have a little bit more of a dichotomy, and it's going to be good to see. Just hope that the talent level is evenly balanced, and we're in for a good season.
Mike?
Yeah, I think that this year's version of the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League will be, like Chuck had mentioned, a lot more interesting with more teams to play against. I think that's always been a battle here with growing a high school league, is to create a division where you're not playing the same team 4 or 5 times. I remember the very first year that I got to J. Sarah that we played SM. Maybe 6 or 7 times. I mean, by the 4th or 5th, there's enough bad blood there.
That's that last game.
There's enough bad blood in game 1, let alone game 4, 5, 6, and 7.
That last game, we were just talking about that. I just had Brian Hodges' mom over here, and we were talking about that. That last game where you guys played the 2-2 tie was probably still the best game I've ever seen here.
The goal with 0.2 of a second.
The goal with I know you weren't happy about it, but you had all the fights right there, and when the fighting was allowed here.
My very first game against Santa Margarita, within maybe a minute or 2 of the game, Matt Garcia checked one of the SM players in the back and knocked him into the boards right in front of the benches, and was suspended for 30 games for that thing. But that was my very first foray into the craziness that is the J. Sarah SM battle.
I remember that vividly, that play.
Andrew, what's his? I'll remember his last name later. But yeah, that was my very first foray into that battle between the 2 schools, and rightly so. I mean, they're both South County schools. A lot of those kids grow up together, whether it's in grade school or playing sports together. And there's always a lot of pride on the line when it comes to those schools.
We don't have a Trinity League in this ADHSHL, but the Trinity League rivalry is there on the ice.
No doubt. Olu is a big part of that. Servite to Division III were a big part of it as well. We had some battles with them over the years as well, and back and forth. And in fact, some of the best games that I think that I've seen in the league have been Olu SM.
Mm-hmm.
That 1-0 game last year was absolutely upsetting. The overtime where Furry scored that overtime, was it 1-0 or was it 2-1 or something? I forget. It was either 1-0 or 2-0 or 1. I forget what it was, but
I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be the championship game from 2 years ago, where Jake Rosell scores a flipper backhand goal and fools the Olu goaltender in a game where I think we had played each other four times that year, and they won the first 2. We won the last 2 regular season, and then beat them in the championship round. So
you played them in the state tournament too, didn't you?
And we played them 2 times in the state tournament.
2 times in the state tournament, yeah.
And both teams after that game, we took off right for the airport and went to Reston, Virginia for the national championships. And Olu actually went home and slept on it, and then got up in the morning and flew out. So.
Wow.
Different coaching styles.
Yeah, that was a lot of hockey. Well,
the good news too is Modern Day's back. I know all 6 Trinity League schools aren't in the same division, but they're all represented again. So hopefully one day soon they'll all be in the same division, and then we're going to have mayhem.
Well, I'm excited to hear that Modern Day is in it. They should be in it. They're the oldest Catholic school in Orange County, and it's just been a matter of time to kind of get the interest in the movement there. They have the athletes, and they have the tradition, that's for sure, at Modern Day, with all the other sports and all the great things that they do in football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever they do, they're very good at.
We one of our colleagues here at Black Dog Enterprises. We actually traded him to the coaching ranks, and then we took a coach and put him on the air.
Yeah, that's right. We did.
Will Ferrero is now one of the assistants over at Modern Day. So, so we made a trade in that
Nice.
point, and he can't hear this, so I'd say we won.
Well, at least I wasn't traded for a used puck bag.
There you go.
I didn't say what else was in the deal. Anyway,
Or washer and a dryer.
Or like that pitcher for the Mariners that was traded, or for the Rangers that was traded to the Mariners for $1.
Yeah, still free area. And there's the baseball segment of our show here, brought to you by Chuck Lacey. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up here for our pilot episode. I think it went well.
Yeah, not bad.
I hope everybody else enjoyed it at home. Or
maybe. Let's hope so. Let's hope it gets home. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the levels right now. They're not working.
This is going to be fun.
It's all right. I tested everything beforehand.
Okay.
I know what's going on. As soon as
now we blame Christian.
we wrap this up.
Or what's his name? What's his face? That's
What's his face?
Yeah, what's his face? There you go.
For Chuck Lasik and Mike Perkins, I'm Eric Pesolano. You've been listening to the report card here on adhshl.com. Stick on to this website for future episodes, and we hope to hear from you then. Until then, we'll see you on Black Dog Enterprises. Our broadcast begins September 9th, 4 o'clock on blackdogenterprises.org. So we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.